Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population and with little or no meaningful engagement leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.
Good evening to you out there, and welcome to another episode on your favorite primetime show, Ways. My name is Chioma Kalu. Now, today, as a matter of fact, this afternoon marks the end of the 6 months of emergency rule in Rivers State. Governor Siminalayi Fubara, his deputy, Professor Ngozi Odu, and the members of the State House of Assembly, they are now set to return to office by midnight. I mean, according to the statement released by the special advisor to the president, the president's speech ending the emergency rule, he said by midnight they resume their duties. They're set to do that after being suspended in March. Now, the administrator, Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas, says he's ready to hand over. In fact, I think at this time he has handed over, citing restored peace and grassroots governance under his watch. But you see, the mood in Rivers State is mixed. Supporters see this as a new dawn for democracy, while critics warn that unresolved political rivalry, stalled projects, and unanswered questions about the emergency period could cloud the governor's return. So as Fubara resumes office, the question remains, will Rivers State finally find stability, or is it just the calm before another storm? Now, remember, Ways is all about you, as you are the why in Ways. So be a part of the conversation every single day and add your voice to the discussions. Now, head on to YouTube now. Our channel is Official Upgrade TV. Hit the subscribe button, like, share, and invite your friends and family to join the show now. And when I open my phone lines, I'd really would love to hear your insights on this very important topic. And as always, what we do on this show, there's always a quote to ponder on. So here's today's edition. It says, leadership is not about being in charge. It's about taking care of those in your charge. And this was said by Simon Sinek. We're going to get into this much later, but before then, we're going to go on a short break. When I come back, I take you through my news interest for the day. Don't go anywhere. Now, welcome back. If you're just joining us, we're talking about Rivers State today. We're talking about the end of the emergency rule. But before we go into that topic, let me take you through the stories making headlines. Now, just before I go to the first story I have, I'd like to put it out there that the president has lifted the emergency rule placed in Rivers State as of this afternoon. So, effective midnight, Fubara and his deputy, alongside Amehule Martins and the members of the State House of Assembly, everyone will be getting back to their duties. I think this is good news for Rivers people. Anyway, moving on, story of interest. You are an alarmist out to cause anarchy. APC tells ex-VP Atiku. Now, the body of the story says the ruling All Progressive Congress, APC, has accused former Vice President Atiku Abubakar of instigating anarchy with his false alarm that hunger and insecurity in the country can precipitate a violent revolution. Now, in a statement on Monday, Atiku had likened Nigeria's situation to the circumstances that justified historic violent revolutions and uprisings in France, Russia, and the Arab Spring. But in a statement yesterday in Abuja, the APC National Publicity Secretary, Felix Moka, dismissed the former PDP presidential candidate's vituperation as a new low in a recent streak of incendiary commentaries by Atiku. Felix. Anyway, it goes on to say, trashing the outburst as unbecoming of a former vice president, Moka noted that Atiku's statement was reckless, irresponsible, unbefitting and degrading to his status as a former vice president. Moka said, while garbed as a critic of the economic policies of President Tinubu's administration, Atiku's statement is nothing short of a tactic instigation of a revolution in Nigeria. His statement is reckless, irresponsible, unbefitting, and degrading to his status as former vice president. You know, one common thing about Felix Moka is usually his choice of words for me. You know, he's very quick to throw a jab at anybody who comes for the president. And, you know, Atiku some days ago said, oh, you know, linking it to the revolution that happened in Nepal, he said, oh, Nigeria is at the brink of experiencing such, you know, given the hunger and poverty rate in the country, you know. And then this national secretary now, Felix Moka, has come to defend, you know, the economic policies of the present administration, you know, telling Atiku that as a vice president, all this your plenty talk, you know, is not necessary. You know, this outburst, like he called it, he said is irresponsible. But then again, Atiku has chosen a stance of a critic, you know, in this a critic of this present administration. And it seemed like the administration, on the other hand, always have a response to him. But I think beyond all of this trade of words, if we work hard enough to fix the problem Nigeria has, which is, first of all, hunger. Yes, I saw in the news that inflation rate dropped to 20, and Nigeria has even gone, okay, we're going to see that in the next news, promising that, oh, it's going to drop to like maybe a one-digit number. I mean, it's funny. I hope it gets there, but the reality doesn't speak to that, really. Anyway, moving forward, my second story of interest is about curriculum review. So the government says senior secondary schools now to offer Chinese language, Mandarin. Now, the Chinese language Mandarin has become one of the foreign languages to be offered in senior secondary schools in Nigeria in the newly reviewed secondary school curriculum. Now, the Education Secretary of the Federal Capital Territory Administration, Dr. Danlami Hayo, announced the development at the inauguration of the Chinese corner at the Government Secondary School Tundun Wada, Abuja. Now, the project was sponsored by the biggest Chinese construction company in Nigeria, the China Civil Engineering Construction Corporation, CCECC, as part of its corporate social responsibility. Now, Hayo stressed the foresight of the FCT Education Board, which had introduced Mandarin in schools in the territory before the latest review of the curriculum. He said the FCT has been very visionary in introducing the subject in our schools through the Chinese corners early enough, as Chinese Mandarin has the largest number of speakers in the world, and today it has become the language of commerce, education, and tourism. Well, I think I like this particular development because I believe as a person, you should be able to speak more than one language, you know. So Mandarin is quite interesting. I wish I could learn it. I really do wish I could learn Mandarin. And I honestly think a review of the curriculum generally is very, very acceptable. It's a step in the right direction. So let's let's go beyond the conventional routine that we have, the social studies. Let's introduce more things. And I think I must commend Nigeria for, embracing this. Adding Mandarin to the curriculum is really great. I think we have French already, and then we have some of our native languages, the Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba, we have English already. So, I mean, yeah. It's nice. It also helps Nigerians be able to stand on the global stage. So yes, I commend this feat. And lastly, on my plate, I have experts disagree as presidency says inflation will drop to single digits. Now, this was the reference I made earlier. The story says the presidency has assured Nigerians that the inflation rate in the country is heading towards a single digit and will translate to better living conditions for the masses. Now, the special advisor to the president on economic matters, Tope Fasua, who gave the assurance, also said the drop in the inflation rate has impacted on prices of food items, which were beginning to ease. The assurance follows the headline inflation data just released by the NBS, which said inflation rate eased to 20.12% in August 2025, compared to the July 2025 rate at 21.88%. Now, Faswa, who also reacted to former Vice President Atiku Abubakar's recent claim that Nigerians were dying from hunger daily, said, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar merely made a political statement, which is expected at this time because he's trying to see how he can wangle himself back to the presidency. And I don't comment on political things. He doesn't have to commend the current government for the achievement, but the rest of us just know to stick with the black and white. A 20.12 inflation is still large in many quarters because what it says is that prices are still increasing in some quarters, but not as they used to be. I think Atiku's statement stepped on a lot of toes. But then again, the inflation dropping is really good, but I wish we could see it in our daily markets. Like I would always say, it's the common man's opinion that you should go by. So when you see all of these drops, I would recommend you go into the local markets and see what the prices are. You can't sit in your high horse and tell us that the prices are reducing. You can't sit wherever you are and do an online survey or something. I don't know. I don't know how you do it, but if you get up from there and step into the local markets, ask the common masses how they go about the prices of these things, I think that's when you get to do a proper analysis, get the proper data you need to determine whatever you are putting out to the public, right? You don't just get up and you decide to put out something. We are the ones at the receiving end, we're the ones at the back end. We are the ones that will tell you the truth. So take, out of your schedule, just the convenience of stepping into the markets to find out the prices of things, I think would do us a lot of good. So instead of throwing jabs at the former vice president, why not just do your due diligence? I think that's the best thing to do to sort all of these out. Anyway, these are all the stories that got my interest today. We're going to go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll dive into our story, our topic for tonight. Don't go anywhere.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light from my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we'll analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
All right, welcome back, and thank you for staying tuned. If you're just joining us, we're talking about Fubara's reinstatement and what it means for the Rivers democracy. Now, I want to hear you. I want to hear your thoughts. This conversation concerns us all. So remember, you can join the conversation by sending an SMS or on WhatsApp at 08180384663. My phone lines are open now. You can also call on 07025007749 and also on 070142424220. Let me hear what you have to say. Now, you see, as Rivers State prepares for this return of Fubara and his deputy, as they, of course, resume their duties by tomorrow, the stakes could not be any higher. You see, 6 months of emergency rule have left both, it's left behind both praises for restored order and criticisms of suspended democracy. Now, for some, tomorrow signals a fresh start. For others, it is a reminder of deep political wounds yet to heal. But beyond the headlines lie the real question: what does this transition mean for governance, for accountability, and the ordinary people of Rivers State? And to help us unpack all of these issues, I'm now joined by George Turner, the Zonal Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, South-South Zone. Thank you so much, Turner, for being here with me.
Thank you for having me. Good evening, James.
I want to make sure I'm pronouncing your surname properly. Please pronounce
it, sir.
Turner. Oh, Turner,
yeah,
great.
Turner.
Great, thank you so much for being here. So, quickly, a recent survey by the Center for Journalism, Innovation and Development, we found out that about 68% of Rivers State people opposed the emergency rule. Many believe they lacked legitimacy, citing constitutional concerns. So now tell us, how much does this disapproval of citizens matter in how the return of Governor Fubara should be perceived or accepted?
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to congratulate people of Rivers State and, of course, Nigerians for this day, 6 months of emergency rule in Rivers State. Comes with mixed feelings. Some are cool with it, some are not. Of course, the role of government.
Yeah.
Government controls the resources and apply it for the common good. So those who have their benefits, are short. Will not be very pleased with the period of break, and but what is paramount is peace has returned. Order, constitutional order has returned. People may want to pretend, but clearly there was a constitutional crisis in Rivers State.
Okay.
The situation was so bad that governance came to a halt. The Supreme Court clearly said so. And when you have a situation where the governor is traveling, on his own with 3 members of a house, every day the state high court will churn out one order or the other, and then there's the Speaker Martin Amaule led 27, and all of that. And then ethnicity, crept in. It moved, it snowballed from a political crisis, and then it was now becoming an ethnic conflict. The Jaws started, making it an ethnic, conflict. And then we now saw that violence was also now beginning to creep in. And then it was leading to critical threat to critical national assets, like the bombings of pipelines and all of those things that followed that really now made the president, to come in. But the truth of it all is that, look, it shows that when brothers talk to themselves, lock themselves up and reconcile their differences, it is sweeter. Victories won through legal battles and all of that will leave lasting enmity. But when people talk to themselves, when people discuss, right, an alternative dispute resolution mechanism deployed in resolving, you look, in every endeavor of humans, you must have conflict. Even same parents is saying one room, one house, eat together, sleep, wake up together, there's bound to be disagreement. But a maturity in which these disagreements are handled, and then there is peace matters. So it's on that flank that I would like to commend Mr. President, for this timely intervention. Because, for those who had mixed feelings, I'm sure if they take out time to read or listen to the broadcast, calling off for ending the emergency rule today by Mr. President, then you can't help but just commend him for the timely intervention, and then that decision has saved the day. Today, peace has returned to Rivers. Governor Fubara is returning, the assembly is returning, there is, renewed hope. They are coming to work together. All their acrimony is gone. The whole battle of budget, no budget, and all. Look, the state was coming to an anarchic situation. And who suffers? The people of Rivers State. Do they deserve to suffer? The answer is no. So when we carry on with egos and sit on our high horses, and we don't remember that we hold mandates, sacred mandate of the people in trust. So I am happy that today, and of course the role played by our leader, His Excellency Nyesom Wike, as a father, to now galvanize this reconciliation between the assembly and the governor, and that have led to this peace. We commend them, and to the governor, I salute him. The governor also showed a path that now interests me, and I'm sure quite a lot of Nigerians, that look, no matter what it is, peace is priceless. And the interest of Rivers State and then the welfare and well-being of his people remains, paramount. And then the governor gave into this peace, took advantage of the emergency rule, gave into the peace talks, and here we are today. And don't forget, the biggest commendation came from the governor himself when he commended Mr. President for the emergency intervention, and then said that, look, he would have even been impeached by now. So those who have mixed feelings should know that you can't cry more than the bereaved. And
All
it
right,
is he
so,
who
Mr.
wears
Turner,
the shoes that knows where it pinches.
Mr. Turner, okay, I hear you, okay, but you see, critics, for instance, former Governor Rotimi Amechi, of course, said the emergency declaration is a power grab. And I know a couple of you people in the PDP also said the same thing, arguing that it violated Section 188 and other constitutional provisions. Now, given this, right, at what point did the judiciary actually justify this rule in line with the Constitution?
Well, in any case, I think there are a number of cases that have been put before the judiciary with respect to the emergency rule. Mr. President also noted it himself in his broadcast. And what is important now is, well, we look to see how the judiciary goes about it. But I can tell you that the powers to declare emergency under our constitution is very clear and non-ambiguous.
Oh.
Yes, the president has the power under Section 305, to declare a state of emergency. And I can tell you as a lawyer, that the president didn't go beyond his powers at all. And don't forget, it is not the president that is, alone in the constitutional procedure for emergency rule. Once the president makes the proclamation, it is up to the National Assembly, to now approve or refuse. And in this case, you saw that the National Assembly approved. And so it shows that, look, the level of intelligence available at their disposal, we don't have it. We don't have it. And the National Assembly is a conglomerate of, all Nigerians who
Yeah, but
represent
I
all
do get that. But
interests.
then don't you think they owe us a level of accountability? You are serving the people, right? You can't say the level of intelligence they have, we don't have it. I mean, make us have it. Tell us about it, right? Instead of, it looks like they just took a decision without, clearing it up with us, right?
No, there are a lot of issues when they do with security. Informations and intelligence
I
at that
get
level
that.
cannot be available for everybody,
I know
right?
that.
Yeah, so decisions are informed, especially at that level. For a president to declare state of emergency, he would have consulted widely. There will be a lot of intelligence available to him from security organizations, and then, of course, the National Assembly also. That is why sometimes to justify whether or not the proclamation was necessary, I find it difficult because the totality of what informed the president's decision may not be available to all of us. Some are on national security, and so the president had a duty, a constitutional duty, and he got it done. And today, peace has returned. And sometimes I ask people, if the president had delayed, today, some blame him. Oh, it's not constitutional, should not have done this, he doesn't have powers to do that. If the president had waited 1 second, and by the next minute, Rivers State burns down, it is the same people who will shout, crucify him. He had powers under Section 305 to have saved the situation. He knew that the place was turning into a theater of war. He knew that this was going to happen. Why did he not activate his powers under emergency rule to do this, to do that, and then they will just blame him? But he took that decision, and because whatever has been averted is no longer manifestly available for us to see or know, we will not appreciate, the wisdom or what the state of emergency have actually prevented. But in all, we give God glory, and the governor is back, the state assembly is back, the state is going to witness, because look, there cannot be development, without peace.
Yeah, okay,
There cannot be any meaningful development without peace.
All right. I hear you, sir. But one question I've always asked is, I understand that you said, given the crisis in the state, the president had to, use his veto power to, put in that emergency rule. But don't you think there are states in Nigeria that actually need this intense emergency rule as well? Since you spoke about national security, I mean, just yesterday, I think, 22 people were abducted from Zamfara state. We've seen situations in Niger, we've seen situations in Kebbi, we've seen all over the place, right? Don't you think those are national security worthy cases that deserve emergency rules as compared to this particular one?
Yes, so now the situation is that in those states, what you have is pure criminality, and conflict arising from crime. Now, it's not a political crisis. There are no parties. The governors of those states are not parties to the conflict or to the crisis. And I am sure they are also working hand in glove with the federal government to ensure, that they deal with those security challenges. In the case of Rivers State, first of all, I've noted there that we have constitutional crisis. That's the biggest kind of crisis. Look, the governor, the three arms of government must coexist for you to have a government. The executive, the legislature. We saw the governor, say that they don't exist, that the assembly members don't exist, that their existence was him allowing them to exist. So that was the level of constitutional crisis, constitutional conflict that we had in Rivers State. And look, with the Supreme Court didn't mind what when they said there was no governance. In fact, no government in Rivers State at the time. You saw that even after the Supreme Court had given judgment, the governor and the assembly continued in their crisis. To present budget and not to present budget became an issue. The Supreme Court have halted release of any money to Rivers State. Rivers State was not to draw from the Consolidated Revenue Fund. And so how do you run government? How do you, meet up with the bills, the welfare of the people, healthcare, education, social security, safety net, the programs, how do they run? There will be conflict, complete breakdown of law and order. And when people are hungry to the level that you are not able to pay salary, then you now have unrest. When it gets to that level of having unrest, when the people themselves becomes part of the security challenge, then there's a problem. So it is distinguishable what we had in Rivers State and what happening in some states of the federation where we have security. Those are pure criminality and security arising from criminality, and then of course there are ways to deal with such issues. But in the event where intelligence shows that any of those state governors, right, is not able to provide leadership at that level for government forces to move in and clear off, and restore order, of course, definitely the president would be expected to do the needful. That is, during the administration of President Jonathan, we had state of emergency in 3 states, right? But in his own case, he didn't suspend the
governor.
Yes. Now you can also. That's why I keep referencing that the Rivers issue, is a standalone. It was a constitutional crisis arising from political, crisis. Now, in the case of Rivers State, even you discover that Mr. President did not suspend the local governments, assuming that the Supreme Court had not sacked the local government chairman elected, by the election conducted by Governor Fubara. They would have been in office functioning because the proclamation of emergency simply suspended those who were part of the crisis. The executive, the governor and his deputy, and then the legislators. It was not a complete dismantling of democratic institutions. No, the local government structures were intact. The president never suspended the local government. So we can always distinguish the river situation with what goes on elsewhere in terms of security challenge to national existence.
Okay, Mr. Turner, we're going to go on a short break, and when we come back, we continue the conversation. Please stay with us. Welcome back. We're still talking about Governor Fubara's reinstatement. And I'm talking with Dr. Turner. Are you still here with us, sir?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here with you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for being with us. So, continuing this conversation. Now, during the emergency rule, right, the Vice Admiral Ibas, the sole administrator that was put to, just be in charge of the state, he made several sweeping administrative changes. He appointed local government sole administrators, reshuffled parastatal boards, removing the accountant general, and so on. Now, you see, critics, warn that this could entrench partisan control and weaken institutional autonomy. What mechanisms now should be used to reverse any overreach? Now, that's if there's any, because from what you're saying, I don't think you shared the opinion that there's an overreach. Now, what mechanism should be used to reverse any overreach and restore institutional balance in Rivers State?
Now, let me even make it a bit clear. What happened in the Rivers situation is that the president, by virtue of the emergency proclamation, took charge, became the governor of Rivers State, right? the National Assembly took over the legislative functions of Rivers State House of Assembly. So if, the administrator was just a representative of Mr. President. Just a representative. So every action taken by the administrator, as it were actions taken by Mr. President. And you discover that in each of those occasions, for instance, when they needed to make some board appointments that were constitutional and required the legislative house to screen and clear, those nominations went to the National Assembly, right? So when now that the governor is back, a governor is a governor, right? In line with the new dispositions on both sides, both the governor and the assembly, they work together. There are things they can, okay, this one, I think this was an overreach, let's correct it. Okay, let's amend it this way. But what is important is that the state, moved on. In all of those 6 months, we had a situation where civil servants, were paid, contractors were kept on site, there was no lockdown of governance. The state, continued to exist. And that is commendable. That is commendable. Every other thing, the governor is here now. His governor is governor. The governor, there is no two definitions of a governor. He's governor with all the powers, constitutional powers available at his disposal. And so he has his assembly, to work with, and the stakeholders. So once he is able to consult and every other thing, governance is a continuum. It's a continuum. I really don't see any challenge.
All right. So, during these 6 months, we saw clashes, we saw people coming to ask for Fubara back, we saw Team Wike, we saw Team Fubara, we saw, people made real-life enemies, due to the crisis that the state was having at the time. Now that Fubara is back, what steps do you think he has to take to heal divisions, rebuild trust, to heal these divisions as we experienced in Rivers State? And also, what roles do you think CSOs and local traditional rulers now, and opposition, really, especially, have to play in that process of rebuilding?
Yeah, you see, the role of fatherhood in the family is very important.
I'm listening.
Yeah, for families who don't have their fathers alive, there are a lot of things, that they are not able to navigate through because only fathers can play such role. The crisis in Rivers State, let me put on record, was not between Minister Wike or anybody. Minister Wike was not part of the crisis in Rivers State.
He wasn't?
No, he wasn't. The crisis in Rivers State was between Governor Fubara and the Rivers State House of Assembly, particularly Mr. Speaker and the 27th. Now, how the issue about Minister Wike is, he is a father who would have been able to call the house to order. When your children quarrel, you call the house to order. But the challenge in that situation was that the first son who would have run to the father to say, look, I'm having challenge with my younger ones, my siblings, and please look at what happened. I don't know if I'm wrong or they are wrong, but please, can you call all of us together? Which is the governor. Didn't take that step. So there was no way. So, and then they looked as if the younger ones were people who listened to their father. But the first son obviously acted in a manner that he doesn't care.
So are you affirming the fact that there's a case of godfatherism in Rivers State?
No, if look, there is always somebody in politics and in governance and even in business, in your private business, in running your companies, even in your platform that you have, there is always somebody you must fall back in terms of experience, in terms of guidance, in terms of so they call role model.
Can't I choose? I'm sorry, sir. Can't I choose who to fall back on? Does it have to be a particular person?
I'm
Okay.
coming. If you call it godfatherism, I have no apologies. But in politics and governance, I know, look, politics is played along interest line, right? For us as practitioners in politics, it's played along interest line, and we always have families, political family, camps, cartels, like that, because it's a conspiracy on the overall. So that's why you have political parties recognized by the constitution that, look, you play these politics along political parties line, PDP, APC, ADC, like that. So it's normal. Now, if people call it godfatherism, I have no apologies. Minister Nyesom Wike is known to everybody as the father of that house. He's a political father of that structure, that family, that house that brought in Governor Fubara, to existence. And indeed, the entire assembly
So
members
also,
of
are
Rivers
you
State.
saying that Fubara was not voted in fairly and he only is there as a result of Wike's influence?
No, so if a political party doesn't give you ticket, who will vote for you?
Yeah, but then Wike doesn't own the
And
political
now,
party.
if somebody doesn't, let me tell you. Even when you are looking for employment, they say your CV should bring referee, not so. Somebody must guarantee. Look, there must be somebody who takes responsibility to say, look, it is me. I present myself on his behalf. I am the one guaranteeing him. Referee. So, and when you misbehave in your place of work, they go for your referees. They look at your CV and if you conduct yourself properly, the credit also goes to your referees. If you conduct yourself poorly, all of it also goes to. So before somebody becomes a governor, it is not a child's play. Somebody must vouch for you, put you through the party gives you ticket, the party now campaigns and talks to the people. So in some other democracies, the political party can even ask you to resign. They take their ticket from you and you leave. In South Africa and elsewhere, the political parties, notwithstanding that the people have voted for you, it is the party that actually goes for election. So yes, the people of Rivers State voted, but a party brought you out, and a family produced you, packaged you, galvanized the people. Politics is support based. It's played along that line. That's why you have people who are PDP, you have people who are APC, and when you form a government, it is the party that forms the government. So people may want to play to the gallery. People may want to, whenever a personality who is a bit successful in politics or public space, if they become enemy of almost every commoner out there, But I tell you with all sincerity that the crisis in Rivers State was simply between Governor Sim Fubara and the Rivers State House of Assembly.
All right. So, so during the period of his suspension, right? At first he fought it, he tried to fight it, and then towards the tail end, we saw him seemingly succumb to the president and, whatever agreement they had. Now, there were rumors that came out saying, oh, he will be forced, or rather, he's being convinced to join the ruling party, APC. What do you have to say to that?
Well, that is his decision to make. He's a governor, and even as I am in PDP. I'm in the PDP. I'm zonal secretary. I'm speaking from my office right now. I'm in the office, still working. But if I decide to leave tomorrow to the APC, it's my decision. It's my decision, So I don't think the governor is somebody that can be pressured or. Then why did it would have been pressured a long time ago, to join it? If it goes to the APC, it is entirely his decision, and I mean, they bought stocks on his desk, so nobody should be blamed for that. If he goes to APC today, the PDP will tackle him, as a person, and not that somebody. Sometimes when they say the presidential APC coercing, what is coercing? If somebody goes to APC, leaves PDP and goes to APC as a governor, holding a PDP's mandate, and then you go to APC, it's from your own volition. I don't believe in to coerce, they were cajoled, no. You take a decision like, it's just like taking a wife. Taking a wife is your decision. If you allow people to get a wife for you, whatever you see in the marriage tomorrow, you take. But if you make your own decision, it's just like a water pot that the owner breaks. There's no quarrel about it. But if another person come and break your water pot, it's a whole lot of problem. So when if the governor returns by midnight today, and it is his decision to go to APC, that is his decision. And Nigerians should hold him to his own decision, not to now insinuate or assume. People have cajoled him, they have pressured him, they have no. I don't think.
Finally, before we let you go, sir, so as this emergency rule has ended, what do you think should be Fubara's priorities, for the maybe first 100 days in office after reinstatement to show real change in the state? Also, what systems of oversight and accountability would reassure citizens that past abuses during this emergency won't repeat itself?
Well, I will expect Governor Fubara to hit the ground running. And he had an agenda when he came in as governor. I'm sure time is running. He really needs to hit the ground and deliver to the people of Rivers State as quick as possible. By our electoral calendars, we will soon be approaching the electoral season, the next round of political season. So he really doesn't have time, and I believe in his capacity and his commitment to deliver on those promises he has, both himself and the party, had made to the people of Rivers State. I will also expect him to consolidate, on the peace that have returned, unite the people, and ensure that it drives the ideology of one Rivers, a great state, one people, one destiny.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Turner, for joining us this evening. Thank you for your time. And just before I move forward, I have a comment on YouTube by Biggie. He said, this old man just discouraged me from reading law or respecting them. Shame on you for saying Tinubu has the right to suspend the governor. Thank you, Biggie, for your... for your comments. Anyway, just before we go, we have seen that Rivers State right now has transitioned out of emergency rule, and the reinstatement of Governor Fubara is more than a political reset. It's a test of Nigeria's democratic resilience. Now, 6 months of suspended governors have left behind mixed legacies, claims of restored order on one hand, and accusations of overreach, stalled projects, and economic strain on the other. Now, for Fubara, tomorrow's reinstatement carries enormous responsibility. He must move beyond old rivalries and prove that leadership is about service and not survival. Transparency, reconciliation, and renewed focus on the needs of Rivers people will determine if this moment becomes a true turning point. Now, democracy thrives. I'm going to say this, and I want us to listen. Democracy thrives when trust is rebuilt. And that is the challenge before Rivers and Nigeria at large. Democracy thrives. I'm not talking about federalism. I'm not talking about autocracy. Democracy that we claim to have. I need Nigeria to move beyond democracy on paper and actually practice it. It thrives when trust is rebuilt. Try to incorporate the people you are in charge of in your decision makings. Think about them, hear their views. I understand, like my guest said earlier, that, oh, some things are rather left unsaid. Some national security issues are not what you throw to the public. But I feel like you should find a way to let your people in on what you're doing and the reason you're doing them, because they are the ones you are overseeing, and you're not a ruler, you're supposed to be a leader. Thank you so much for listening to me tonight, and thank you for your contributions. Before I go, do ensure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV. You can interact further, drop a comment, and most importantly, follow all our social media engagements. And remember to like, to share, to comment, and invite your friends and family to watch and follow us. If you missed our quote earlier, here it is. It says, leadership is not about being in charge. It is about taking care of those in your charge. And this was said by Simon Sinek. I'll see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Do enjoy the rest of your evening.